Okay? This is what I was going to get to. This isn't the first time that some music was banned in Jamaica.
The rules have changed for disc jockeys across broadcasting platforms regarding the type of music they are allowed to play.
The Broadcasting Commission has banned all songs promoting illegal activities with immediate effect.
We really have to be more careful, especially living in a society with rampant crime and criminality that has a genuine problem that seems to be beyond our scope, or certainly our immediate scope to address. Then it really has to be all hands on board.
I don't think they feel that we're irresponsible, but I think it's just a way to reinforce to us that you have a responsibility to also shape this society.
In 2009, Jamaica was in a very polarizing time. Imagine when the beef between Tupac and Biggie. Imagine if that was so powerful in a society that the society were also fighting it out in the streets. That was happening when Vybz Kartel and also...
So, news out, Jamaica's government has banned any music that promotes drug abuse and gang violence. What do people think about this? So I've been searching around at discussion boards or comment sections from Jamaicans, non-Jamaicans, Americans, every community in the West, where we've had this discussion on whether music influences violence or violence influences music, or in a sense where doesn't the environment and expression of art from the environment, what's the point in banning something that it pre-exists? They're saying that the older generation are promoting the concept that music influences culture, or music influences these trends in gang violence. But let me address something a bit different. Can anyone else answer this question? What other music genre in the world gangs involved in producing music? Name any genre in the world or throughout history. Think about it. No, I'm not trying to address hip hop or dancehall as if, these are black music. Are you saying that, black people make violent music? No, because we have to go all the way back. Reggae, jazz, Motown, blues. A generation when black music, or essentially black Western music, African American music, Caribbean music, and to a slight extent, West African music with the drums and the traditionals were all a positive influence, a positive approach. There was no form of violence. In fact, most of the music we made was against violence, against the war. It promoted peace and harmony. But now we're in an era in which, genres of music have a bit of edge. It's not just hip hop or, dance or... for example, we can touch on rock music, hard metal music. I know some songs, some artists raise awareness to suicidal, events in people's lives. And how is it addressed, Those who suffer from suicidal thoughts would listen to music that would help them cope and essentially discuss the issues in the rock community when it comes to drug abuse. Musicians in general struggle from drug abuse, but you just can't name any other genre of music that affiliates art with gang activity, criminality. There are no other genres on this planet with that expression of art. You can't name one other music genre. This is what's different about, what we promote in Black Western music. Because if we go to Africa, when it comes to music now, we've got Afro beats. Yeah, and then you've got those who try and create Afro drill, because that's an influence from the American scene. But on social media, I saw there's this video, 2 videos circulating on social media, Instagram and Twitter, where African American kids are observed grinding on each other. These were like 4 or 5-year-olds, 4 or 5-year-old boys being made to grind on 4 or 5-year-old girls, children, imitating what? Art? Because that's what's being seen there. And then you got the Caribbean dancehall music or soccer. And these videos, 2 videos, was very explicit and sensitive content, because it made people feel uncomfortable. It started circulating on mainstream social media. We've got, black social media, and you got mainstream social media. And people were like, we are not equal in terms of culture. There was this sort of I saw like a far right platform saying, this is why we're not the same. Because this is shameful content. It was embarrassing to see, but then, adjacent to what was trending, we've got Jamaica banning music that promotes violence and drug abuse. And I think that's a very good start. We need to see more of that. And we need to have that discussion and conclude with policing ourselves, policing our culture, not leaving it to the youth to evolve every generation. This idea about, the youth can express themselves. Where is the discipline? That's the issue. Culture needs discipline. Lack of discipline, you've got an erratic culture that promotes certain values that are discouraging future generations, foul habit, immodesty, and erratic behavior. And we can all address it now. Let's look at other genres of music. I mean, Black Western, Black American music has influenced the world in different ways with Motown and blues, just the pop culture. And even, the earlier years, the golden era of hip hop back in the 90s, early 2000s. It was authentic in a way. It was legitimate, but it had a level of, criminal influence as well, with like the West Coast, East Coast, battle back in the early 2000s and the 90s. But then you have genres like country music, is mostly a southern white influence. Of course, there's Black American influence in it too, but they police their country music. They made it difficult for someone like what's his face, the black guy who makes like industry baby artist, forgot his name, but I'll make a note on the screen. But they tried to police if he was allowed to call his music country. I don't think it was racial, because there are a lot of black country musicians like classified, but because his like, look at him now, he's more of a pop artist than a country musician. But essentially certain genres police what's considered their type of music. Like if you think of jazz now, jazz is still authentic. It's not mainstream anymore as it was in the early 1900s, but like those who are involved in it are invested in keeping the quality, and there's this sort of je ne sais quoi element of jazz that no one can touch. And so there, when it comes to music, one thing that's definitely an element of culture is the same thing. And then when it comes to food, making sure the food is healthy, when it comes to mannerisms, fashion, when they're saying that Black American fashion is looking like a hoochie mama. Really? Is that your fashion sense? Is that your culture? Apparently cultural appropriation for them is ghetto hood caricatures. That's very offensive. Like belittling African American culture to hood caricatures is is very sad. It's very sad, because then why are you offended if someone is trying to act hood and criminal? That's not your culture. That's just the socio-economic, situation, like that's not African American culture, daggering. When you call daggering Caribbean culture, it's silly. It's not culture. It's just a 18 plus dance move, as in it's not something to be passing down to your children. It's just a fad. It's like everything's being called a culture.